Morning, everybody, and welcome to another Business Spotlight interview. And we've got a treat again today for you. It's Friday, and we're all thinking about the weekend. But before we do this, this is a wonderful story, and it's about manufacturing, and it's about clothing, and it's my bag, and I love this. So, Samantha from Wearing Brooke, tell us all about your business.
Hello. Yeah, so I am from Wearing Brooke, which is my business, and it comes from a family name, Wearing, and my great grandmother's maiden name, and Brooke is my maiden name. And the idea was that Wearing Brooke was very similar to wearing clothing, so you're wearing Brooke, and also my family name from Wearing was from the coal, the industry. He was the Francis Waring was my great great grandfather, and he was the director of Coal Light, which is smokeless coal. So the idea that he kept people warm, I want to keep people warm with knitwear. It all kind of fit in with a nice name.
Brilliant.
Uh, so then what I did was 7 years ago, we bought a knitting machine. Um, we went through various different things for business models at the beginning, buying, manufacturing abroad, because that was the only way we could get our minimum quantities. In the UK, it was just far too expensive for us to outsource. So we decided to buy the knitting machine ourselves. In the end, instead of buying stock that might be dead, we've got a asset then that we've always got, and then something that we can always create something new with. But not realizing quite how difficult it was to program a knitting machine. So it is like people go to university for 6 years doing this. It is very hard, and I had 10 days with a man to teach me, so it was very hard. But we got there after a mental breakdown and a bit of a hold. Um, yeah, so then in 2019, the business restarted again, starting make it because I first started making women's wear and men's wear, but realizing quite quickly how hard it was to design, program, make, and produce, and then market and do everything behind the scenes. With me and my business partner, we just found it a bit too much. So my business partner actually had a baby and left. And then I started the business back up again a couple of years later, um, making accessories, personalized accessories. So something I had to think, what can we do that no one else can do right now? And I thought, well, I've got a knitting machine. I can do what I want. I can personalize it. No one can do that. So that's what I did. I created a product, an accessory, which I took someone's initials, and instead of just putting it on the initials on a product like an embroidery, I made a pattern out of it and then created so people could become the brand. So I'd make a pattern out of their monogram, and then it would be put in a scarf and a headband in a snood. So then it was part of they could become part of the brand. And then it started to grow from that really. And now I'm doing back clothes again because I was able to build the business, build a bit of income behind me, and then yeah, produce. So now I'd produce accessories and clothing for women. I will branch out into men soon, but I just want to establish myself solidly in the female market first, in the country female market.
Okay, that's absolutely fantastic story. So, starting, growing the business, etc., coming up with this great idea. I know you've won several awards, like Entrepreneur of the Year, etc., which is absolutely amazing. Where can people get the clothing from?
Product. So we sell online mostly. We sell online. We go to trade shows throughout the UK, and we have a. I'm just building a showroom here in the office. Sorry, that's my dog. Enough. Yeah. So I sell around in stockists around the UK. I think I'm in 12 right now, and that's from Newcastle, trying to get into Scotland, Wales, and down south in from down to Devon.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. So, Really interesting business. Great thing with manufacturing in the UK, clothing, accessories, etc., which is wonderful. What have you learnt along the way of running your own business?
It's not easy. There's ups and downs, but also that you have to move with the times. You have to diversify when you need to. When it was COVID times, I had to, if I'd have carried on making clothing, or headbands, I would have had to fold, because people weren't buying it then. It was so I had to diversify, and I made masks. I made personalized masks. I took the idea of the personalized item and then made them into masks, which actually turned out to be a really good idea, because then people could identify their own mask and yeah, move forward. It made sense at the time. And BBC News took hold of it and they liked it, so they made a bit of an expose on these masks, and then that elevated the sales and kept me going throughout a very, very tough time. Um, but yeah, what I've learned is just keep developing, keep moving forward, keep changing. If you need to diversify. Don't be afraid.
That's a really good share. It's basically thinking outside the box and then
Yeah,
implementing. Absolutely
exactly.
fantastic. So, I
Yeah,
mean, sort of, what do you actually attribute your growth to as a business?
loyal customers, exposure. That's a huge one, and because exposure is something that I'm trying to get more and more of at the minute, with celebrity endorsements. So yeah, I think my growth has come from learning what works, what doesn't. Because and then if it doesn't work, don't push it. You can't um, swim up a river the wrong way. So if it's not working, drop it, move forward, move on. And then yeah, keeping your loyal customers happy, and then just developing on those and just nurturing those relationships, getting the exposure that I can, because for me it's all about sales. So yeah, it's finding out what works, what doesn't, and just developing on that.
Absolutely brilliant. So, did you always want to run your own business?
I did, because my family has always, we have our own business. I come from a family actually of green waste. So we create green waste we make biomass fuel. So being green is just another part that I've not touched on, is quite a big part of this business, to create a product that is not going to ruin the earth. Um, and that's where we sort of differ, I think, from other companies. But sorry, I've forgotten the question. I've diversified.
You diversified. Yeah. Did you always want to?
Did
Did
I
you
always
always
want
want
to
to run
say
your own business?
yes? Yes, I did. Well, I wanted to make a difference in the world, and hoping that fashion is something that I've sort of fallen into, but it turned out it's something that I'm quite good at. So it's something that I wanted to be an artist as a kid. So but then someone said I was quite good at knitwear, so it kind of spiraled from there. But I always wanted to create something that will make a difference in the world for sure.
Samantha, you're not quite good. You're very good. You're excellent.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Let's not. So, being a business
Thank
coach, we don't use the words quite. We actually say we are
yeah,
excellent. Okay. So,
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
It's very hard. I think you have to sacrifice some things. You have to sacrifice some friends. You have to sacrifice part life, but if you can work it alongside, I've because a lot of my work comes from Instagram, from social media. That's a huge part of the business. I put a timer on my Instagram, so I can't access it from, I think, from 10 p.m. till 7 a.m. And I know that doesn't seem a lot, but like that's my hours off. And I don't look at my emails in between that time. And I think you just got to be strict. Otherwise you do burn out. And as I've said in the past, I have burnt out because I've worked too hard. And yeah, it's not worth a year off for just having a couple of days, sorry, a couple of hours. And I always make sure that I have my weekends to myself.
Brilliant. And finally, what is the best advice you'd give to an 18-year-old you?
Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't give them any other advice. I'd just say do exactly what you're going to do. You're going to fail, but you will work out how to pick yourself up and make yourself go again. No, that's a silly one, isn't it?
No, nothing silly.
No, well, because I think the only reason I am here now is because I've made so many mistakes and I've learned from them, and I know that you can't change what isn't working, and you need to accept it. Before I just wanted to, I thought I had this vision, I was gonna do it. But I suppose if I was to do it again, I would say start with the accessories, but I knew I wouldn't want to do that. So I wanted to listen to myself. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Samantha, thank you so much for your time. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Lovely to speak to you, Tim.